Good whenever it is when you're watching this. Not legal advice, not financial advice. Don't rely upon anything I say, and please do your own work. Speak to somebody you trust. Please like, subscribe, and please make sure your pets do so too. So, thank you for that. Um, I wanted to talk about three things quickly, or quickly for a lawyer, whatever that means. One, I wanted to talk about finger motion and GTII in that order. And I wanted to talk about MMTLP and my arbitration. And I wanted to talk about something else about accounting, accountants, and how they might play a role in this particular matter. So those are kind of the things that we're going to talk about. Of course, before I get started, I wanted to address one thing really quickly. Yesterday, a clown held the door open for me. It was such a nice gesture. Anyway, so starting today, quickly want to talk about finger motion. We've been talking about that. Whoever JR and I spoke about it last night. We being JR and I and others have been talking about it for a while. And today we were waiting to see if the S3 became effective. There's a lot of MMTLP people that are in it. There are a lot of people that are other plays that have been naked shorted that they're in it. Of course, this is not investment advice, so if you're interested, do your own examination. But anyway, we were expecting perhaps the S3 to be approved, and we were expecting positive movement. And in fact, the effectiveness of the S3 was proved as of today. And today, I believe finger motion was up approximately 12.8%. So it was a good day for finger motion. We'll see what happens tomorrow. For those of you who are interested, it's FNGR, so you could follow the symbol. And again, there was an attached, and again, who knows what's going to happen. So I have to preface that. I do own both finger motion and GTII. A lot of people think they move together. GTII was also up today, for whatever that's worth. But if you're interested, follow those two symbols, see what happens. A lot of people that follow the same securities that we're in on are also in finger motion. So follow it, might be of interest. And we shall see tomorrow. Quickly jumping over to GTII, I did a video about Hurry and his place in the Caymans. And I suggested that perhaps it would be a good place for people to look, for the feds or the FBI to look, to maybe search. And in fact, Alpine ran all their foreign transactions apparently through Grand Cayman Trading Limited or an entity like that that's located in the Cayman Islands, to avoid or reduce tax exposure, and probably also, or maybe, hide transactions because they probably never made it to the United States. And who knows whether there may be shorts that came through Europe or elsewhere that made its way through the Caymans. We really don't know. But I was suggested that looking through the auditors who have to sign off on these companies might be a interesting source of information. So then I saw today or last night. So I did a video, I think, on the 30th, and I saw on October 1 that the SEC had just started a legal action against, the name of the firm is Prager Metis, an accounting firm engaged by FTX regarding auditing, and they were charged with various violations for not lacking independence. In other words, they were too connected to FTX to be legitimate. So very interesting. That must mean that Gary Gensler watches my videos because I put out the video and the next day they filed. So I do have a lot of sway with them. Not really, but the fact that they did it suggests to me that there may be a connection or an ability to go after the auditors. And GTII might, I mean, I don't know, but if there's shenanigans going on with a company, then that means probably the auditor didn't do a bang up job, is my guess. And the auditor, just if they're negligent, that might be some level. If they're involved, that also might be a different level. And they may have insurance and other assets, et cetera. So they may be a good target in these disputes to add. We've talked about broker dealers and then a bunch of governmental entities that are immune, but perhaps the accounting entities that do wrongdoing in signing off on bad actors, like if it applies, Alpine or Grand Cayman Trading Limited, I don't even know, but if it applies to those, then it would be worthwhile, I think, having the authorities, the SEC, potentially the DOJ, looking into those organizations, and the documentation is available. So the agencies can go, for example, if they wanted to find out about Alpine or Scottsdale, which has involved GTII, they can just go to the filings that Fngr made, and within that, they will see a jumble of entities offshore related to Hurry, Alpine, etc. And again, I believe that that those entities are not only suspect, but they may be doing things they shouldn't be doing. I'm going to leave it at that. So that was interesting that the SEC took the same tact about pursuing the auditors. So again, maybe that is a manner that should be we should look at. Third, and I'm not a securities lawyer, and this kind of relates back to finger motion. Not a securities lawyer, and I just did a brief search, but so finger motion through Univest did a shelf registration. That shelf registration is now effective. And per my reading, even though, again, don't rely on this, do your own research, check it out. But once the S3 is effective and the plan has been approved, which it has been, for future distributions or chunks, they don't have to get SEC approval. So in this case, I think the original amount was 300. The first S3 was 25 million. The way I read the statutory structure, they don't have to go back to the SEC to get approval to use that 275. So if for any reason, let's say, and I'm just going to make up numbers and just for example purposes, let's say Univest wanted to invest in finger motion, and they had $275 million available because that first $25 million has already been allocated. We don't know how or when that's going to be used. How or when, yes. So there are at least 275 million possibly available. So if, and I'm just going to use this as rough numbers, if they bought in at $30 a share, that would be more than 90 million shares. So you can imagine what kind of impact that would have on a company. So I think that's almost 4 times the recognized number of shares that DTCC says exist. And that's not including all the shorts that have to cover, et cetera. Anyway, I thought that was a interesting thing because at any point in time, it would put a lot of pressure on shorts if a underwriter or buyer with the same motives of targeting the shorts invested a huge number of shares. I think it would have a positive impact on finger motion. So the fact that there's 275 million additional available should give the shorts pause, great pause. Anyway, and we shall see how that plays out. Again, if you're interested, just follow the symbols FNGR, GTII, and see how it plays out. It's always interesting to see. And again, there's a lot of MMTLP people in finger motion besides AMC, et cetera, who are using that as kind of a rallying point against the shorts. So we'll see how that plays out. Last but not least was my arbitration. We were supposed to have a hearing tomorrow, and I'm obviously we're heavily litigating this, let's just say, in the arbitration. So nothing goes by without being challenged. And I'm doing, I would say, the majority of the challenge. And I challenged one of the arbitrators, saying that I thought they should be disqualified. Today, I got notified that my motion to disqualify the arbiter was granted. So now we will choose another. It's the third one, because there's two additional ones, a total of three arbiters. But we will now engage in choosing a third arbiter to my satisfaction. And of course, I'm challenging the entire FINRA arbitration system. So we shall see how that plays out. We have had discovery. Let's say we're at an impasse as discovery. We will need an arbiter to rule on a bunch of motions I filed seeking special discovery. I've received a bunch of documents from Fidelity's counsel that I think was pretty useless, not substantive. I've challenged their credibility of their counsel. And I've also suggested that the fact that they haven't engaged in any discussions with me at any point with regard to resolving my dispute, and in light of the, at best, the uncertainty that exists with regarding the legitimacy of MMTLP and how the brokers have acted, that it makes no sense that they haven't at least reached out to even offer me a bogus offer, because they have a lot at risk, and therefore my only conclusion is they're targeting me and want to make a example. So they will spend, because I'm sure they have to this point in time, they will spend whatever needs to be spent, and I will challenge everything we do, just so you know. And again, I have no problem being transparent. Everything I do, I think, is appropriate. Just like I asked for the disqualification of the arbiter, which is granted. Just like I asked for that the potential arbiters be polled about naked shorting, which FINRA did also. So I intend to be um, very loud about making sure that I get the fairest proceeding possible, and I'm not going to let anything pass. And they will be called out, especially defense counsel will be called out anytime they play shenanigans. Today, again, they did. There was some shenanigans in some of the paperwork. I called them out, attached an exhibit that proved it, and we'll go from there. But I'm just not gonna let it lie. And again, of course, I will keep you apprised as I promised, just as I did. So when I know the next hearing date, that when this has been replaced, I will let you all know. Anyway, have a great night, and I look forward to Fngr Motion GTII tomorrow. And again, follow it if you're interested. If not interested, don't follow it. And to those that are in it, best of luck tomorrow, and hope we have another good day like today. Be well.